I want you to imagine a game. Any game from your childhood or early teen years. Maybe it was Smash Bros. Melee, Halo, Minecraft in its glory days. That nostalgic feeling in your gut. You know the one. During a time where nothing else mattered besides school, homework, and your friend who might be able to have a sleepover at your place this weekend. Think about a game that shaped your interests during your most impressionable years of your life. A game you could confess had an impact on you and who you are today. I know it sounds silly, but for me, that game was Team Fortress 2. The so-called entryway to the first-person shooter genre, and I'd be inclined to agree wholeheartedly. With its easy accessibility and simple game mechanics that are easy to pick up but hard to master, TF2 has stood the test of time in a medium that seems to evolve faster and faster every year. To think a game from 2007 is still fighting the good fight with the new titans of FPS games like Rainbow Six, Fortnite, Apex Legends, and Destiny shows just how much of an impact the game had on PC gaming as a whole, and how sometimes less is more. Simply put, this game seduced me. I remember creating my Steam account in early 2015 after having a few goes at the game on my brother's crummy laptop. Soon, I'd be staying over at my grandma's almost every single weekend for at least a year to get my fix. Upstairs on the desktop. Honestly, I'd say it was the best time of my life so far. Everything was better then. Life was good. I was originally going to call this video my love letter to Team Fortress 2, in response to the second, half-baked attempt to save TF2 again earlier this year. I want to talk about how this game is beloved by many, and deserves a legacy that doesn't end in a slow, drawn-out, pathetic whimper. I stopped writing the script since I was already late to the party, when I got inspired to create a video showing my love and support for the game, after realizing the flame for the second attempt died almost as quick as it came to life. Now, with the second anniversary of the movement coming up, and has likely passed by the time this video comes out, May 26th, I'm happy to see that the TF2 community is ready for another attempt at calling Valve out for their neglect of one of their most popular and well-loved franchises. Only this time, we're making sure that the message cannot be interpreted any other way than what needs to be said. Valve needs to confront the cheating infestation, and make noticeable changes to the way anti-cheat works in this game. Preferably more than patching holes in a flooding boat or other supplementary fixes that only temporarily fix the problem. This time we're doubling down with the necessity and calling it Fix TF2. I know working against cheaters and exploiters is treadmill work, but we're asking for the bare minimum here, a functioning anti-cheat. I'm sure if you've seen any discussion on the past Save TF2 movement, or even the upcoming one, you see a lot of talk about how we were too nice. We generalized the problems into one big clump of issues, and that was only enough to get Valve to hire a single contractor and a plan to patch bugs and occasionally help mitigate the bots with certain changes. That and the entire movement was too complacent and too positive about it. Don't get me wrong, a good attitude in a situation can go a long way. I thought I'd never see the official TF2 Twitter account make a post ever again. But we got one, and I could not tell you how happy it made me, and how it kept me in a good mood for the better part of a week. And then we barely got any relief. I feel like the bots were at a minimal state for a couple weeks, maybe even a couple months, but sooner than later, they were back in numbers, terrorizing the casual playlist. I might have even placeboed myself. 2 years later, and nothing has changed, not one bit. This time, we need to speak out. Call out Valve on their blatant neglect of a game they still continue to add microtransactions to. Still keep dedicated live servers up expecting people to be playing them. Imagine offering a product labeled as functional and then having the gall to add loot boxes and items locked behind paywalls when you can't even play the game in its most popular and fundamentally important game mode. I couldn't. It's that hilariously greedy and unfortunate to me, knowing how Valve used to be incredibly in touch with their communities. Now we got a paragraph written by a PR representative of the company. Someone who has no emotional connection to TF2 besides seeing the characters plastered on Valve's HQ somewhere. This situation we find ourselves in is not a positive one, and we tried to use positivity to make a difference. It didn't work, and we're in a negative situation, and we need to convey that negativity in our movement. Of course, this doesn't mean badgering Valve employees' emails or personally going out of your way to harass the company. What's most important is that we need to stand our ground and be firm about our expectations. All we want is a functioning anti-cheat, and with enough publicity, I do think we can get it. Even if it's just the bare minimum. Anything else would be a bonus at this point. I think it's safe to say we as a community are past the begging and bargaining for a new major content update, and while that's always something we can hope for, at this point, I don't think I'd be wrong in saying we just want our favorite game to be in a playable state. To not join a casual server and be subjected to aimbots keeping you from leaving your spawn, and the chore of vote-kicking handfuls each game. Not only that, but God help you if the bots start calling votes on innocent players. And us being so desensitized to seeing bot in the text chat that most of the time we all just press F1 instinctively without proper inquiry, usually resulting in an innocent person getting kicked sometimes. Honestly, the saddest part is that we've come to a point where it's just normal that the bots are like houseflies that you need to take care of, and only then is it possible to maybe finish a game with a full server of human players. I mean, I've had countless friends who have never played the game before try it for the first time, and after they install and join a game with me, I'm like, this is Dust Bowl, these are control points we need to capture to win the game. This is 2 Fort. We need to infiltrate the enemy base, steal a briefcase, and bring it back to our base and capture it. This is a Hoovy. They are friendly and give sandwiches to enemies you are about to kill, and then you get crocketed. And these are sniper bots that instantly headshot you when you make line of sight with them. But don't be discouraged, they're completely normal. And hey, that's a spy crab, and we have a seal. The bots are disruptive in more ways than just killing you instantly the moment you turn a corner. They spam in text chats, which is only a function that players with a premium account are capable of. I'm not going to talk too much about how awful it is that free-to-play players are denied basic communication utilities. I mean, they can't even call for a medic, dude. And instead focus more on the point that bots are using the text chat to spam vulgar obscenities of all kinds, which implies that bot hosters are funding this bullshit. Valve needs to be made aware that this is happening, and hopefully they'll realize that they're sitting back and profiting off the bots since they are premium accounts, which means they paid to send racial slurs and hateful, disgusting messages in chat. This gives Valve an even worse reputation, at least in the eyes of the TF2 community, more than they already have for the silence and inaction. And any content creator or notable figure in the community that dares to confront the bot hosters, or even do Valve's job of coming up with a solution to the problem, are doxxed, blackmailed, and have been swatted for trying to stand up against them, notably Mega Scatterbomb. The fact that it brings attention to them and their actions speaks as to why they do this in the first place. They want attention, but they don't want to be shut down. That's what we're fighting for. They had their fun. It's been 5 years Something needs to change. I've been in the same position as any other TF2 player. I've been complacent, thinking that the way TF2 is just how it's gonna be. That's how it's been. You're numb to the feeling of getting mad when you're gunned down by a bot. You just re-queue and try again until you find solace. Solace that might never come during a certain hour of the day or day of the week, but that's just how it is. Community servers are a great relief, but sometimes it's not what you're looking for. You want exactly what casual TF2 offers, and it's not always there at the tip of your fingers, because of a few basement dwellers with enough spare time or lack of parental figures to code and host malicious cheating bots to ruin the fun for everyone. The Fix TF2 movement is exactly what we should have done from the start. I recall having the same thoughts about how the last movement was formatted, that we weren't specific enough as to what we wanted, and for that, we didn't even get close. We celebrated a game for what it was and not what's happening to it. Yes, of course the bots were the catalyst for it in the first place, but it's clear from the response from Valve that they had no intention of getting a team to work on this. That's all we want. Support from Valve. They have more money than they know what to do with, and instead of funding research for technology that will be outdated in a few years, contract TF2 to a third-party development team like they did with Counter-Strike. In fact, I guarantee that passionate coders who love TF2 would volunteer to do it for fucking free if they let them. A part of me believes that nothing will come out of this, that not a single bit of pleading will reach Valve's ear. But as I'm sure you've heard countless of times, we got nothing to lose anymore. We're past begging for new major content. We're past begging for weapon rebalances. We just want our game to be playable again. If any other game was in our shoes, there would be fucking riots. I understand that TF2 is pushing 20 years old. I understand that the source code is janky as fuck and nobody wants to touch it. But if you're going to continue to add new microtransactions and keep dedicated servers up, the least you could do is make sure you can use those purchased items and play with them in the most approachable game mode possible. I don't want to see this game dissolve into just seasoned veterans and traders, as well as doomers just following the community to be pessimistic about how this game fell from grace. I want to see it thrive for another 20 years. I want to see new players do dumb shit and improve. I want old players to come back and say it was just like the way they remember it. I want Valve to fix TF2, and thankfully, I'm not alone. In the description of this video, I'll have a link to a petition you can sign on behalf of the TF2 community. This was organized by community figures, and it would mean a lot to me, and I'm sure it would mean a lot to them if you signed it, and shared it to friends and communities of your own. The main date is set for June 3rd, and I, along with many others, will be using my voice to spread awareness once more about the ongoing bot crisis. Be sure to use hashtags FixTF2 and even save TF2 on Twitter and any other social media platforms that might reach Valve's ear. I love Team Fortress 2 just as much as the day I first started playing. I'm sure many others share the same sentiment. The fact that a 17-year-old game is still as popular as ever, that I can still find new, high-quality content for the game on YouTube after this long. We even have a fucking movie. That I can find new ways to play a class or give a weapon that I've never taken out a shot is a testament to how impactful and amazing this game is. A game that's still pulling in new players and keeping old ones hungry for more speaks louder to its gameplay and culture than we ever could. We need to band together and try this again, because we're begging for scraps here. We're begging for the bare minimum, and we shouldn't have to. If Valve flipped the switch on their servers, or just straight up told us they weren't going to support the game anymore, I know we'd all rather that than silence from them. Actions speak louder than words. and we're starving for either at this point. Please spread this message, and remember the date, June 3rd. We need Valve to fix TF2.